Welcome, Tiny Hands, Big Dreams. So today is the second part of our Tennessee story, our grand scheme to take the cheapest thing, the most neglected house we could find, and pulled it together into this absolute gem of a little working homestead and got ourselves to Ecuador. Yeah, so I came up with this grand idea to redo the countertops. Are we up to the countertop?
Not really, but you can go there if you want to.
I'm gonna go there. So the counters were like, we can't leave this. Like, it's just cheap
So gross.
laminate. Like,
It got to the point of uncleanable. You want something so old you can't clean it anymore.
And then there's the edge where the metal got that you couldn't get.
Oh,
the
it's
edge.
so gross.
So I'm like, okay, we really wanted butcher block. Butcher block is pricey. We looked at how much is that going to cost. We're like, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
And we would still have to cut it.
And then we still have to cut it and finish and do everything else. And then it's just, the money's just sort of gone and in the house until we sell the house. So we thought, well, I will buy a bunch of woodworking tools and learn an entirely new skill and build ourselves counters with the same amount of money, slightly more actually, as it turned out maybe, and then build ourselves counters out of rough cut lumber. So I go up to the lumber yard in Virginia and I bought an entire trailer of cast off the ends and bits and pieces of when they did a lumber run of beach. Just beautiful stuff, but thin and wonky and weird and not, it's not full usable boards. So we go up there and with our little trailer and my little car, and they happily sold me the entire stack for $65.
It's you and the kid.
Basically, it's firewood. Like, no, I'm going to use it. I'm going to find some good bits in there. The kid and I went up there and we're looking at it and we're like, oh, it's all green lumber. It was cut 3 days ago.
So heavy.
Ooh, okay. Well, I have a trailer rated for like 500 pounds. This is, I think, 5,600 by the ticket.
It was like an hour drive one way. You weren't going to make multiple trips. Like, not reasonable.
So this was the beginning of where the kid became useful. Now, people say, oh, I can't do this. I have children. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I take care of the kids. Or they have to do this. They have to. Children actually really enjoy helping if they're raised that way. They enjoy being useful and doing things. They enjoy projects. At least boys do. We haven't had a girl children.
I was a girl children, though. I enjoyed it, too. I helped my dad on everything. Okay. Like, it's... So... If that's how you're raised, I think that's
so I'm looking at these boards, and they're like 10, 12 feet long, and I'm like, Eli, like, I can't lift this whole board easily. Can you grab one end? And he's like, yeah. So he grabbed one end, and he would hoist it up, and I grabbed the other and would walk it into the trailer and set it down. We kept doing that and doing that. I'm looking at the trailer. Okay, I got the little pump, and I set the tires up at their maximum of 110 PSI, because they're little tiny tires. They're rated for that. And we keep putting it in, and we're like, 5,600 pounds, huh? Plus the trailer. So we get it all. We move the whole pile that way. I drive so slowly home.
They get home and I look at the tires on the trailer. I'm like, oh,
on a little sport hitch, on a little Mazda 3, which, they say don't even put a bicycle rack on it because it'll void the warranty. And then the kid helps me unload the entire pile, walking across the yard, and we stacked it neatly in what was the crappy old porch and set it over the dehumidifier to dry it out so that I could get lumber to build the countertops.
Yeah. Quite the adventure.
An amazing amount of work, cutting, gluing. The beach just keeps twisting. That's why nobody does this. It just twists and twists, and you run it along, and why would you do that? You were straight. Now you're worse. Beautiful colors. The counters were amazing. Probably the only ones in existence. I can't find any other reference of anybody else being that dumb.
It's true. You were told you couldn't do it, and it was a terrible idea. And then you did it, and it was great.
I do lots of things people say can't be done.
I know. We enjoy that. You can't do that? Well, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we were laughed at by professional woodworkers.
Yeah. So it ended up being a fantastic kitchen at the end.
Oh,
but the amount of work that we put into it was sort of silly for the end result.
I mean, if somebody just sold us a T-shirt that says, "Yes, I want to make $1 an hour."
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right. So what other things did we do? We did so many things. We learned how to drywall. I suggest not ever drywalling anything ever.
It sucks.
I will never drywall again.
Yeah.
It was terrible. It was disgusting. It was messy.
Doing a stairwell that had never been drywalled, where the 2x4s weren't even in line, and having to put boards to stand
on it awkwardly,
and doing like way above the ground, and yeah, so we did that. We built stairs. Remember the stairs we tore out? We had no stairs. There was just a pit. You open the door, like, pit of despair. Close the door again. So she's like, I'd really like stairs because my freezer's downstairs.
So I'd have to walk all the way around the outside of the house and in, and then back up
just to get some chicken.
It was kind of ridiculous. And at some point in all this, we actually moved into the house. We've done this a little out of order, but we were living in the house for some of this.
Bathroom was like the bathroom and the kitchen, and, well, the basement. But
you mean the whole house?
But those were like the jewels. Living room, like that's living room. The kitchen was awesome. The bathroom was double awesome.
The basement was fantastic.
The basement was fantastic. But so the bathroom. So we start with this rather absolute ghetto economy base or bathroom thing. It's just terrible. It's gross. Stuff's rotting, falling apart. The cabinets are floppy with moisture. The plastic surround shower. Or like, ugh.
It was just sad.
It was just sad.
So sad.
Okay.
There was a bird nest on top of the cabinet.
There was a bird
nest. Just to give you an idea.
Yeah. Because there's no screens on the house. We'll get to screens in a minute. That's a funny story. We'll hold on to that tangent. So we take the bathroom and we turn it from, you don't even want to go in there, like you debate just peeing outside, to, holy cow, you could put this in a magazine. We found this really cool matching sink to the old tub at Restore. Love Restore. Spent date nights there. Made a custom counter, redid all the walls, new fixtures.
And new floor.
Tiled the floor.
Learned how to tile.
Decided to do this crazy custom shower surround.
For cheap.
All of this is on the super like
I think that the tile we got for the bathroom floor was like, it was on sale or reject or like something.
There was just a few boxes and like some broken corners.
And it was enough.
Like, it's a tiny bathroom.
And I remember just standing in like either Lowe's or Home Depot, because I don't remember. We spent so much time in both, looking at the price of all the tile going, I can't do anything very exciting or fancy. It's so expensive.
Yeah, really. I don't know, it's like $20 or $30 for like all the tiles.
So we went for the cheapest possible square white tiles.
For the shower.
But we wanted to make it cool.
And we wanted it to be really cool. So we decided on the basement, since we took this giant empty poop hole of a basement and turned it into this lovely, beautiful, like comfortable space. And then we started to divide it because I needed walls to hold up the floors that were upstairs because they were unsupported. So that was my structure. And now we're like, oh, we have this little work area where the freezer is with a table. We have a full root cellar with built-in shelving and a door, like it's own like sealed room, like bug tight. Then I built myself a workshop over in this other corner with workbenches and a little half wall and all my tools. Then there was a kids area. Built a lovely kids area with a TV and a couch and a thing. We painted them all different colors, so each area had its own like little color theme. That was kind of the crazy, colors of the house. And I had this idea. I'm like, let's use the bathroom to tie it all together. So I had this idea. We buy these. They call them glass gems from the dollar store. They're just like glass lumps,
like flattened spheres. Like if you flatten them.
Yeah, flat on one side and then kind of round. I'm like, so we're gonna take out a bunch of tiles, and then I'm gonna color the mortar the same color as the paints we used. And the guys at the paint store.
This was another time you were told you can't do a thing.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, you can't do that. It can't be done. I'm like, I'm gonna do it anyway. So I finally just get one of the guys at the paint store, because we've spent a bunch of money there on paint, to give me the pigments for the colors we've used. So he gives me the pigments, and I go and buy mortar rated for the glass beads, and I mix it in, hoping it doesn't alter the chemistry too much. And I made colored mortar, and then stuck the little glass beads in according to the seating chart that she made, because it had to look random, but not too random, which means it had to be very carefully orchestrated random. To look random without having an accidental pattern show up, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's a triangle or a happy face or a thing. So it was all planned out.
And then you made a little, I don't know what to call it, like a little guide.
Like a little practice square.
Where we have to set them, because they're different size little glass gems, and they have to all sort of
this one has
in
3
its little square space.
And 5 smalls. This one has 4 bigs and 4 smalls. This one has
Because it had to fit in and not also have a pattern with side. Okay.
Or not too much mortar. So then we do that. So I stick them all in, which means the color shines through the glass.
Yeah. So we both sit in the bathtub with the colored mortar
So many
and
hours.
make our little squares of gems. And then you had to grout it.
And then I grouted the whole thing and then sealed it, which is a totally thankless job. That, oh my gosh, sealing the grout. But we did it because it's the right answer. It's the right way to do it. And we came up with this gorgeous, beautiful shower. We decided it was the best shower we've ever had in our entire lives. You come in and you just smile and you're like, this is cool.
It was.
And
it was great.
It's really nice to have something that awesome in your life that's like out of a magazine.
It was awesome.
Okay. So.
You done now?
I am done.
All right. Well, yeah, the basement rooms you talked about, which was, it was a fun way of splitting up the basement. It felt less like a basement. You know, I've grown up with a daylight basement that was just sort of sad. This really was super livable. It was comfy.
We got awesome. a couch from Restore that was like an old commercial couch. We got a 70-inch TV for free from a guy we bought a fridge and a stove from in really questionable circumstances.
Very strange. It's very strange. You know, when your spidey senses are just like, well, something's funny here.
Yeah.
We're going to just take these things we bought and leave now.
But now we have this, he definitely owned them.
No,
that wasn't
he did.
A question.
He was a question.
But we now had this giant, beautiful double-door LG fridge and this beautiful, like the flagship gas stove to go in our fancy kitchen.
Both were very cheap.
With the what do you call the sink?
The farmhouse?
The farmhouse like sink,
white,
which was like the only one in the world like it that was left because they discontinued them. But then I had to run gas. Oh.
Yep.
Can't have electric stove. See, that's terrible.
I mean, okay, it's not terrible, but I really wanted gas and honestly, it's better when you're selling something.
Fine.
I think.
I will convert the house to gas. So, look that up, become a licensed gas line installer thing, got my little card, run gas line. Okay.
Well, you also were an electrician and a plumber and an HVAC installer and...
Oh, yeah, totally. I had to totally redo every bit of the plumbing in the house from where it came in the wall. Every run to every faucet all had to be redone because it was like 9 styles of plumbing that didn't match, things rusting apart. Okay, that's all gone. And then the wires in the house, and then I had to run new circuits, and then the breaker box finally just fizzed out on us because it had just so crusted with old dog urine dripping.
No, so gross.
So gross.
So gross.
It finally just and smoked, and we're like, well, I'm gonna replace that.
Not cheap.
No, but I can do it myself, so we don't have to call in an electrician.
We did absolutely everything ourselves.
And pay them $1,000.
Yep. You put in all the ducting, so we had proper...
I
also not smelly.
Oh yeah, because there's no way to really clean HVAC ducting, so we replaced every bit of it.
Yep. Which was not fun. It was not a fun experience. I again don't think we should do that ever again. Don't recommend it. So while he's doing a lot of this stuff, because these were things that had just been on a list that you weren't able to do while also working a full-time job. Just wasn't reasonable. So while he's working on all this, in between my painting and things, we ended up doing a lot more outside things. I mean, I had already been working on the rock wall, but
the
rock wall was sort of my nemesis.
It was an idyllic thought of beauty, and like in front of the house, we're gonna have this gorgeous, beautiful pair of rock walls that come across, and then they like would just curve around the edge of the hillside, and you'd see them from the road. Of just beautiful dry stacked stone walls. Like
it's a lot of work, in case anyone thinks it's a good idea. So we ended up getting 4 pallets of. Especially if you're OCD, and they have to all be stacked perfect till they just fit. No, that doesn't fit. Perfect. Bring me more rocks. And they were perfect.
And
they were great.
Fit.
Yes, they were.
It was gorgeous.
Unfortunately, it's one of those things that. It's pretty, but it's also a little thankless because it gets overgrown with weeds and no one sees it. You're so good. So I did that, and that was a huge amount of work.
Oh, over and over and over, like moving the rock things, sorting the rocks, putting the rocks in.
It was a lot of work.
Planted it the 1 year, giant, beautiful tomatoes and things and vegetables. Like
it worked. It was just a lot of work. We did all the outside water because after the first year of hauling hoses around, I don't want to haul hoses around
100
anymore.
and some feet of hose because there's only one faucet on like one corner of the house. I'm like, nope, we're adding more hoses things. I'm going to bury lines and I'm going to have little hose points so she could take her little lightweight.
Quick disconnects.
With quick disconnects.
That was great.
Her little like extendy hose, you know, the lightweight hoses they sell. So she could just run over, plug in, and it would extend out to 25 feet and she could reach the entire property with her tiny little lightweight 25-foot hose.
It was awesome.
One of those just hidden bits of infrastructure that really makes life nice.
And we just put in the outdoor kitchen.
Outdoor kitchen.
Which has become like the dream again, is to have an outdoor kitchen.
I recommend everybody have an outdoor kitchen. A deck would have been nice too.
We had decks eventually.
We had little decks.
But the outdoor kitchen was a huge thing for us, honestly, because we were also fighting poison ivy, which is its own difficult struggle. And being able to wash your hands outside is incredibly handy. Fill animal waters, wash vegetables, anything.
Yeah.
It's so nice to have. The only thing I think that I would have done differently is maybe have hot water. Seemed okay because we put it in the summer, and then in the winter it was not as okay. It would have been nice.
Yeah, we used the old sink and faucet from the actual kitchen, which is the cheapest pressed stainless, like...
The cheapest one you can get.
It is literally the cheapest one in Home Depot that they sold in the 80s, and it was the cheapest little single-handled chrome faucet that existed in Home Depot in the 80s.
Yep.
And we just moved the whole thing outdoors and dropped it in.
And it worked.
Worked great.
Yeah. We, somewhere around this time, we came into some money. It was a funny story. It wasn't funny at the time. It's funny looking back. We were getting a lot of UPS deliveries because we were buying so many things for the house. Actually, this was not for the house. I remember what this was for. I was butchering a pig, as one does, in the bus, as is totally normal. And I was actually waiting to get casings to make sausage. And I remember this. And I'm waiting for the UPS delivery because, like, I need to make sausages. So, dude shows up, and I can hear UPS come up, and I'm like, that's fine. I'll go out in a minute. I usually know all the UPS drivers. Like, it's usually the same guy that we got to be friends with. It's fine. Not the same guy. And he attempted to turn around in a driveway where he had absolutely no business attempting that. And I don't even have words.
What were you thinking?
When someone does something so dumb that you just stare and you're like, this is your job. Are you okay? And he was not okay.
He wasn't on the same plane of reality of soberness as the rest of us.
I'm not sure. And I was home by myself with the kid, and I'm like, and he's starting to get aggressive and weird about things, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna call my buddy to tow me out, and I'm like, you're UPS. I'm pretty sure you have like rules to this. I'm pretty sure
there's like an official procedure.
Yeah, no, he didn't want to do any of those. It was really against me, like calling anybody.
Was the only thing that was like new on the house when we bought it, so it looked good from the street. It was just freshly like done blacktop.
So it was only like a year or two old at that point.
Yeah, it was really nice. It was beautiful and smooth. It was like the only nice thing that the house had when we bought it. And now this UPS driver is just sitting here like grinding it away.
I'm trying to tell him to stop, and he's not listening. He's getting angry. I ended up calling the police, which was totally pointless, but at least I knew that if something weird happened, they'd be there. It was a whole kerfuffle. And finally, I guess, after phone calls and
I went back and
things.
forth with the manager at UPS and the thing and the insurance guy and this and that, and I'm like, look, like it's damaged. Nobody will fix it because they're like, the only way to fix it is to redo the whole driveway. Like, I just wanted it fixed. Like, please. So the guy was actually really nice and told the insurance company just to settle it. So they gave us, it was like $7,000, which is a cost to redo the whole driveway. So it looked nice again.
So we looked at the driveway that had damage.
We had hundreds of dollars to our name.
And we looked at the rest of our existence, and we decided that we were not going to finish, or we were not going to fix the driveway. It was not worth it. So that ended up being such a strange thing that worked out for us.
Yeah, so it was literally like this like little like like the waves are encroaching when you're standing on the edge of the ocean. You're like, there's a rock, I can jump to that one. And then the water moves around. You're like, there's a rock, I can jump to that one. So we sort of leapfrogged from here to there. And that got us like another wave of things, stuff, some more paint, some more this, some more that.
Oh yeah, that one we needed.
And to kind of push us to the edge.
And then in the middle of all of, at some point in the middle of remodeling the house, we realized after we had moved out of the bus, it was time to remodel the bus because we had to sell the bus.
That was our
next rock to leap onto.
Yeah, that was our next bit of money.
Yeah.
It was a good old bus house.
Good old bus house. So that was a very sad day when you drove away with bus house for the last time.
I had the strong feel.
Oh, we all did. Yeah. That was a very strange day. But it was one of those like, it has to happen to move forward. So, yeah. Gosh, what else do we do? We de-trashed the house, the property.
They mentioned, oh, you have a trash pile at the property. We're like, okay.
Whatever, it happens. Okay, sure.
40 or 50 years of trash being thrown off the side of the hill until the hill actually became bigger.
Yeah, it just was the hill.
And we're like, we should deal with this?
We honestly just ignored it for so long.
Just covered with weeds and things.
Poison ivy.
Yeah. So we got out there finally when the poison ivy died back. And we're like, we're just going to start, putting in the trailer. And we'll just throw it away. We got gloves, right? So we start dragging it out. We start saying, there's a lot. So we would make a path from the lower landing to get the back the car and the trailer up through the trees. And we start loading trailer after trailer after trailer after trailer. And like, we're just digging through the bottom. And we're like, it's still there. I don't know how many trailer loads we went through. 20? 30? They knew me well at the dump.
I spent hours and hours and hours and hours going through the trash pile. It was disgusting.
Just raking it, pulling it off, putting it in the trailer. We built a chute, crap chute, that went down the hill out of a bunch of lumber. So we actually had like a sluice. So when we got to the top of the pile, we were just throwing it in and it would all just tumble down into the trailer, down this slide.
Yep.
Another thankless job. And then you sell it and people are like, okay. And you're like, no. There was this here and it was this. And it was... You can't tell anyone.
No.
It just stopped existing in the world.
Yep. Screens. It seems like screens and doors seems like such a small thing. But
I said I would get back to the screens. Okay, so the house had no screens on it. Okay, but
it did have nice windows.
It had okay windows.
Like they were newer.
They'd replaced that 10 years earlier, maybe. There were some screens and they were stacked somewhere in one of the porches.
I guess we just sort of assumed that they fit and we put them in at some point.
None of them fit.
They were all kind of wrong. And some came from just like a different house. Like, you don't belong here. You are... No.
Fine, we get a quote for, okay, what's it cost to make screens? How much? And we need all of them. Like, I don't know how...
I don't even know.
20-some windows.
It was so much money for screens.
We're like, there's no way. There's no way. Be nice to open a window. So we're at the Restore, and I think you spotted, like, they have screens up there, like on a shelf. There's just a big stack of screens.
This is like $1. Like $1 a screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we're like, wait a minute. Could we cut them down and make them fit?
So we went home and we measured every window, and then we go to the Restore on a date night. Yep. And like, look, okay, well, we have these measurements. Well, which ones of these are big enough we could cut down?
It just has to be bigger than this. And then I get back, we get in the house, put it on the folding table, take the screen out of it, take a little hacksaw, cut it, put it back together, put the screen back in. Yeah. Snap them all back in. Made the screens for the whole house for
like $20.
Like $20.
Yeah. And we did the same thing with the doors. None of the doors matched in the whole house.
None of them matched. None of them really fit.
Some of them were just bad.
None of the doorknobs matched. None of the hinges matched the doorknobs. Things you don't notice right away.
So we knew we had to replace some things just new, like the doorknobs and the hinges and things were just going to have to be new and we're going to have to spend the money. But the doors, we did the same thing.
Yeah.
And we just decided we were going to cut down doors from the Restore and sort of redo them and patch them.
Does it match?
Yeah.
Is it bigger? Okay.
Yep.
cut the top, the bottom of the door, cut it slightly wonky to fit the, okay, and then like, so now all the doors are nice, Nicholas, all the door trim. We looked around like the living room, we're like, every bit of baseboard is a different molding. Oh.
We were going to save the baseboard. We were going to leave it. We're like, oh, it'll be fine. We don't need to. No, that was terrible.
And then in the bathroom,
it was gross.
Somebody threw the baseboard at the bathroom floor and then smeared it with silicone to make it look good.
There were a lot of things we discovered along the way.
We just didn't notice that. Oh, that's got to go. Okay. So.
All those little things.
So, and then like the floors. We had to do all the floors in the house. Okay, fine.
Originally, we thought we were going to refinish the wood floors that were there.
Nope.
No.
Find the cheapest floor possible. The nice click lock, like laminate. Find it on sale one day. Like, okay. Now that the floors are flat, we can just refloor the whole house. That was a chunk of money.
We thought they were flat.
Like,
they were not really flat. They were level, maybe. The house was level. The floors would do this.
Yeah. Now, you also have to, here's the fun thing. This entire time, this whole adventure, indoors, outdoors, we're homesteading, we have animals, there's children. Children.
Great.
Yeah. Poison ivy exists there. We are in that 1% of people that are crazy wicked allergic to it. Who knew? We didn't know. We'd never been around it. Turns out we are. So we're going to call this now the worst game ever. That's its official name for all times. Because somebody would touch one with a shoe. And then they'd walk in the house after playing outside. And it would leave little invisible footprints. Somebody else would walk in that and walk it somewhere else. I would walk on that print and take it to like my bedroom, and then I would throw my shirt on the floor, and then at some point I would pick that shirt up to put it in the laundry, and all of a sudden my hands blistered after that many like contacts of like that sensitive. Oh no. So we are absolutely like going crazy. We're just like getting all these reactions. If you have poison ivy, Fast Orange, the Mechanics orange soap, cuts it instantly, takes it right off.
And absolutely. Then surfaces alcohol.
And that's it. We were alcoholing the floors in the house on a every few days or a week basis because of accidentalness.
Yep.
Anything that goes outside, did it touch the ground?
I forgot that. Away? So as we're flooring, we had made the decision that the new floor would be
the floor game
would be poison ivy free because the house had been gross.
Yeah.
We had been working. Obviously, everyone's wearing shoes in the house, except for the bedrooms, which was another game. It was a horrible game.
The shoes go until where the floor ends. Where does the floor end? What day is it?
So new floor was clean and old floor was not. So you'd have to jump back and forth, and we wore Crocs all the time because you could slip them on and off and go back and forth, and then you stepped on the clean floor and you have to alcohol it. You'd hear that.
I failed.
I failed.
I put a sock down on the wrong floor, or I stepped on the good floor with my shoe. Yeah. And then somebody else from like one of the other places, because you can't move. Like you're contaminated. You cannot move. Somebody else has to come and rescue you and like alcohol mop the spot. Take the sock away.
Get your new sock. It was ridiculous.
This is how bad it was.
It was horrible.
It was just so that was the rules of the game that we had to play under. We liked the hard setting.
That was not fun.
It's not fun.
Not fun. Yeah, so we redid the whole floor, and we ended up having to level it with just like pouring leveling compound and just kind of smearing it around. That was terrible. It was not fun.
There was one little section that you just had a perma bow in the understructure. So we got leveling compound, poured that in, but we made it all work. Like there's like a door threshold. How much is a door threshold for like between the kitchen and the living room? Because there's a height difference. Oh, it's like $65 in wood. What?
Yeah, no.
I had some leftover oak that I got accidentally in that batch of like, so I managed to, without losing any fingers, cut this crazy custom oak threshold and like oiled it up all nice, put it down. We're like, that looks good.
It looked so good.
Nobody's ever gonna worry about that.
No one ever noticed it, but it matched the floor. It looked so good. Yeah. That was the thing. So much of what we did, nobody was going to notice. No one.
It's not fake press wood with like a laminate. No, that's actual beautiful golden oak.
But so much was just thankless, honestly. I mean, the trash pile that we got rid of, or the French drain, it just isn't wet. It's not like, it's wonderfully wet. It's just...
That's just the way it is, and it's just
not wet, whatever.
Good. It's just not an issue.
Yeah.
So we put in
it
this
was a lot of work.
crazy amount of work. We went to like beyond the limits of our abilities. We learned new skills every day. We just kept pushing ourselves. We just kept asking ourselves every day, every decision, does this decision get us closer to the mountain in Ecuador? It wasn't originally this mountain, but you know, like, oh, we want to do this, we want to that, we want to go to the movies. Does it get us closer to the mountain? No, it's money spent. It doesn't get us closer. Don't do it. Every decision.
We did a few fun things. I was looking through pictures. We took some hikes. We did some fun things, but we worked really hard. All of us.
Yeah.
And at the end, we're like, okay, we did it. Like,
and we didn't just do it. We did it amazingly. Like, it's beautiful. We were so proud of this beautiful like working homestead with the animals and the things, and
yeah.
Now we have to leave it and start over again.
And that was feels wrong. It was always the plan. We always knew what we were doing, but it was definitely like leaving the animals, I think, was the hard part, because we had established animals there. We had established
everything. We had all the systems in place, and
like we finally got comfortable, and then we're like, okay, let's just sleep.
Like
get really uncomfortable.
I'm like, I have this full workshop. I have all my tools laid out. I have this lovely area just to go sit and relax.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, and then I mean, the selling of the property was its own adventure.
Oh, that didn't go so well.
And I think for me that was the hardest part. We went through all of this, and I guess we just had this idea that we were going to sell it because it was a beautiful house, and
the market goes up, the market goes down, it goes up, it goes down, and we were just getting it ready, and the market kind of tanked, which
if we had waited, we could have gotten
months, and we knew it was going to come back.
But 6 months was 6 months we were not in Ecuador, and we were just using up our money to live, which seemed so silly.
Out of money. Like we'd run out of money completely again, and the next amount of money was the house. That's the next stepping stone, is sell the house.
So we ended up, once we bought our container and packed our container, because that was part of it, is we were also packing to move, which is a huge, huge endeavor. And so once we had that, we're like, okay, well, we need to sell it. We need to sell it. We really have to sell it. We have to sell it right now. We have paperwork. We have things.
When you're moving to Ecuador, start a binder of officialness.
Ours was
red binder. Dates, things, calendars, stuff, all the documents you need, instructions for how to do it. When you have a date like that, like the document's only good for 6 months. So, you get a certain piece of paper. Okay, you get on this date, and then you have to get it notarized. Notary has to be like officiated. Like, okay, then you set it off for apostilling. That takes time. If it's a different state, it could take months. By the time you get it back, you only have a month or two left on that 6 month document before it's expired again, and you had to wait until it came back before you left.
Yep.
So we had this crazy tight
and then
window.
we had selling a property in the middle of that.
So we had to time the selling the property with this like weird 6 month like document. Like, when do we pull the trigger to start the documents to do the thing?
It was the last few months were crazy, and then we had a buyer sort of disappear on us. We thought like, okay, we have a buyer, it's great, we can go forward. Like, we bought plane tickets, we did every finalized thing, we booked all of our Airbnbs,
we had a contract with earnest money, there was something,
and they just
no, there wasn't earnest money, no, it was a bunch of lies, no, they don't have financing, no, they weren't even real. So
that was a huge stress. Just trying to come up with anything that we could do to sell it. Had a buyer come in at the last minute and managed to make it work, and we managed to keep all of our dates, didn't lose all the money from the flight.
The crane came to pick up our container the morning of our flight. There was delay after delay after delay with the company that was supposed to move our container to the ship and get it to Ecuador, and just had fights with that woman. No nice words. So they sent this they finally find a platform to put the thing on, and they send this lady to the house to pick it up. She can't back up a trailer.
And we literally have to be at the airport like in less than an hour. And
she can't back, and she's blocking the highway, and she's getting flustered, and she can't back up the trailer.
And the crane guy's sitting there like, what are we doing?
4 hours paid for to the crane guy, and he's like, 4 hours, I'm leaving. And we have to get on a plane. So finally, I don't even know what to do. So I go to this lady, and I'm like, please don't give up. I was so nice. I wanted to just scream at her, like, where did you get your license? How do you even do this for a living? And I just said, please don't give up. And I explained how important this was to us and what it meant, and that there was nothing we could do but rely on her to please do a really good job. And she went, okay. And she kept trying.
And the buyer of the house was staying at the house. It was not closed yet. Luckily, because my mom was the legal owner, she could do that after we had left. So that actually worked out great.
But the animals had to be taken care of.
But the animals had to be taken care of, so we worked out a deal of like, you stay at the house, it's yours now. I mean, legally or not, we're out. You stay here, take care of the animals. So we just looked at her and we're like, we have to go. Like, we have to make our flight.
I left her a blank check made out to the crane company.
We have a lot of trust in a lot of people here.
Please.
Figure this, like, all of you, can you just figure this out? We have to make our flight. And we had the rental car to take back, and like, we just have to go. We go to the airport, we sing, and I think it's like, we walk to the gate, and it's like...
As we're walking down...
No, it's actually as I went to the bathroom. So I'm like, I have to pee. I go to the bathroom, and I look at my phone for the first time since we had left the house, because all these things going on. I look at it. They've got the container. Everything's fine. You're good to go. I'm like, okay. I'm okay.
Boom. We're out.
We're good. It was so stressful. It was just down to the absolute wire. Every little thing.
So 11 million crazy things happened for us to go from we are penniless broke.
In Colorado.
Literally scraping the change out of the jar, like, to survive and to get our flight back to, we had this dream, we're going to do it. And it took a little longer than we thought. You know, we're here. This is our reality. It is possible. You can do this. You just have to stick to it.
Yeah.
You have to persevere. You have to just keep
be resilient.
Trying. Homesteading is a lot like that in general.
Yeah. Even if you're not doing something as crazy as what we did, there's still going to be roadblocks and issues and problems, and probably a lack of money somewhere along the way.
And people that stand in your way.
Or tell you can't.
Yeah. Okay. Here we are.
We did it.
So, well, that was story time with Chris and Elizabeth. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, like us. We have a few more of these slated to do in the future, and we'll get to them. Thanks for watching.